All right, so Logan, we've talked a lot about how, when starting your own Pokemon card business, content creation is king. Being
Yes.
consistent with your content is absolutely king when it comes to building trust with your customers, proving that you're actually a person behind
Right.
the business, right? One of the things we talk about all the time is look, in your videos, in your content creation is absolutely important to show your face because unfortunately in this industry there are scams. I hate to say it,
Yep.
and so, and something like Pokemon cards, unfortunately, there are
Right.
scams
Yeah,
and people that will try and take your money. So
definitely.
it's vitally important to show your face because look, it's a lot bigger deal if you scam someone and they know what your face looks like, right? It's just
Yeah.
a different
Right.
thing, right? It's just it's a natural, uh, you know, there's just a natural trust that comes with showing your face. So after that, though, so let's say you're being consistent with your content creation, you're doing all the things that we've talked about, getting better, staying consistent,
Hmm.
right? But after that, once you start getting buyers, once you start getting some sales, what are some things that business owners can do to retain those customers? Or
Well,
that sort of that stickiness sometimes we
right.
talk about, right?
Yeah.
To you and your brand, what keeps them coming back? That's
So I
I think is
think,
super important uh, for your business.
yeah, I mean, I think something that needs to be said, that is, at least to me, obvious, and I hope to most people obvious. But you have to provide good customer service as like the
Yes.
baseline, right? If what your site says, oh, we ship out in, next day, you should try your dang hardest to ship out the next day.
Right.
And if things don't go the way that you thought they would, be vocal about it. Let your customers know what's going on. Keep them in the loop because it's such a big step for someone to take that leap, send someone money that they're trusting on Instagram or some social media, with their product, with the thing that they're looking for. You see so many people on Reddit, so many people online that say, don't ever buy Pokemon cards from anyone on Instagram or TikTok because it's all a scam. Odds are, you're gonna be you're gonna be scammed.
Right.
And like fair, a majority
There is
of
some truth to that.
there
Yeah.
is some truth to that.
Yeah.
So my point is like when there is someone who's willing to trust you with that, their money, their time, their entertainment, you gotta fulfill that. And I think what I'm really pointing at is basic customer service, right? Your business, hold yourself accountable for being a good business.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, that means shipping things out correctly, making sure the product is double checked, triple checked, that you're sending the right thing to the right person. Um, it's not sloppy. You're not, your inventory is up to date where you're not overselling something and then you got to email them saying, oh, actually it's not in stock. Like there's all these things that are so important to just, you know, baseline.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to share as well.
Yeah. So one of the things I talked about uh, earlier when I first started is I thought it was supremely important to make every part of the transaction outstanding,
Yeah.
right? Like first time customers, they got an email saying, thanking them for their
Yep.
order, appreciating their business, making sure there were no surprises, right? They got
Right.
what they bought. Like there was
There's no
no
extra
emailing, hey,
fees.
actually I'm out of this.
Yeah.
There was none of that, right? Inventory was double and triple checked, before it was loaded into
Hmm.
the website, right? I think that's super important, especially when starting out. And
Yeah.
you know, and, and you know, Logan, one of the things you do, and I'll let you talk about
Hmm.
this in a minute because I think it's super cool. Handwriting personal notes
Yeah.
to first time buyers, especially, I think is really cool, especially if you're starting out. Writing up those, personal emails, and making sure that they have some uniqueness, right? You don't have to
Yeah.
make, you know, every word unique to each
No,
customer,
no,
right? But
please don't do that.
you should put some uniqueness in each email or
Right.
personal note, right? Adding things like when I first started, one of the things that I did was I added 2 free booster packs
Yeah.
for first time customers. And
Super
because
cool.
it's extremely important, especially when starting out, to build that trust and that stickiness, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Especially when,
yeah,
you're competing with so many other stores. Like
yeah,
this is not a new market, right?
right,
There are so many other stores that you have to differentiate yourself with. And a lot
yeah,
of that comes down to the content and, people buying from you for you. But
right,
like, differentiating yourself by being timely, being organized,
yeah,
giving them 2 free packs, at least, back when things weren't as crazy, definitely leaves an impression in the customer's mind. And and maybe it leads to them coming back. Maybe it doesn't, but like it's important because
yeah,
it hits a standard for them on like, oh wow, like I bought from this person on Instagram, everything was legit, and it came with extra stuff. Like
yeah,
that's cool. That's the new border. That's the new baseline.
yeah. And they wrote me a
Um,
personal note. Like that stuff
yeah,
sticks with people, you know.
exactly.
And listen, maybe your strategy has to evolve a bit as you
Hmm.
grow. Sometimes it's harder
Hmm.
to know if someone's a first time customer if you're filling out, tons of orders. It gets a little bit tougher to do that. Sometimes the personal notes get a little bit tougher, but
Yeah.
but making every part of the transaction outstanding, that's absolutely something that can stay. That's
Yeah.
absolutely something that will remain important no matter how big you get. Um,
Yeah.
it's also, I
100%.
think it's also important to, keep in perspective, like, no matter how big you get, every customer is extremely important.
100%.
I think that way, and Logan, I know you think that way.
Yep.
Every single customer that buys from us is super important. And making sure the customer feels that, I think, will go a long way.
Yeah, and sort of like I mentioned the baseline, I try and add a little bit more than that, to my orders,
Yeah.
right? Like I do a personalized note. I haven't always done it, but I started doing it, you know, probably 3 or 4 months ago. Actually, my girlfriend, was really adamant that I do, just to give them a more personalized touch. And she's right. Like, I've had people give a review on the site, and they call out that a personalized note was a great surprise, and that they're really happy to see that. Um, and like, I, you know, when you're creating content, the whole idea is to build trust, build that, relationship with your audience about, who they're buying from, why they're buying from, and entertain them to some extent, right? And so it can also be it can also be pretty cool to get something from someone who you're watching every day. You're seeing their content, you're enjoying their content. That can be a cool thing. So I do a personal note. Recently, I reordered business cards. So I'd ordered business cards back when I first started. I bought 100 of them, and I was like, man, I'm never gonna sell out of these. And sure enough, like I did,
Yeah.
which is super cool. Like, yeah, and so I reordered 500. We'll see how long that takes me to get through, but I do a business card. It's basically just a quick and easy and nice, way to kind of reinforce the business, reinforce the brand. I think my business cards have a little QR code, they can scan to shop on my site. On the reverse side, it's basically, a reminder that if you leave a review on the site, you can get actual reward points to use on future purchases. Um, so that's something. I send stickers. I send like one little Pokemon sticker in each order, um, and I think all in all, like luckily, I'm not sending anything huge. So like the cost per order jumps up like 15 cents. So adding those
It's
things
worth it.
is worth it to me.
Yeah.
And luckily, like my girlfriend is pretty supportive of all of this, and so she actually helped me write some of the notes. So if you see a little bit of different handwriting in some notes, those are from her. The ones that have poor handwriting are from me. So, you know,
That's
um,
awesome.
yeah,
Logan's girlfriend, you need like some equity
I
in
know.
this business or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
So okay,
definitely.
so I love that. So I just kind of want to build off of what Logan just said. Like so one of the ways to build sort of that stickiness is to add these sort of reminders, right? Like, hey, you know, Logan's business card is sitting right there on my desk.
Yeah,
Any kind of reminders of like your business being in your customers' vicinity, right?
right.
I think will go a long way.
Yes,
So,
100%.
like for example, I wanted to show this. Uh, I'm considering getting these pins made where they have.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully, you could see that
Yeah,
the name on it. So it
yeah,
just anything like that, and they're like I don't know, 25 cents a piece to
right.
get made in bulk. Like they're
Yeah.
just like that stickiness, in my opinion, is worth a lot.
Yeah, boom,
Anything.
another idea. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna steal it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Anything. Listen, anything I do that you can use,
Yeah.
please take it, please. Um. So, but yes, once you once you get your content creation going, once you start getting sales, like there's still a lot more that you can do to um to make sure your business has the best chance possible to be successful. And part of
Yeah.
that is building that stickiness with your customer base. And I don't think that's talked about enough.
No, I think it's important. I think there's so much that you have to do as a business that you're creating daily content, you're managing your storefront, you're handling inventory, you're restocking, with your Japanese suppliers. Like there's so much going on,
Mhm.
that it's easy to forget that, like the job is not over. There's so many more ways to improve it and develop those relationships. So another thing that I think is important that I try and do to sort of develop, you know, the people that kind of what we talked about, like the whole point of the content is to, you know, get people to trust you, develop a somewhat of a parasocial relationship, not into the extent of like, this is like, someone who's gonna watch, you all the time, like a streamer or anything. It's not like that. It's just, they see your content, they know who you are. You're Logan, you're Alex,
Yeah.
you are a Pokemon business. I've bought from you, or maybe I've thought about buying from you. Like, you're not just some random, Pokemon creator, that you sometimes see their content. You know who they are, you know what they're about. And I think another aspect that I've been trying to do and incorporate are temporary, showings of who I am outside of just Pokemon. And
Yeah.
a way that I've done that is through Instagram stories. So stories are ephemeral. And what I mean by that is that they come and they go, and then they're gone and never to
Hmm.
be seen again.
Yeah.
24 hours, you can do whatever you want. And I take an opportunity to really use stories, and I do that through, linking products. I'm not afraid to say that there will be days where I throw 5 products at you per story, with a link asking people to go there. However, there's also content there that people don't get out, anywhere else. And what I mean by that is like, I'm a big football fan, the European kind and the American kind. But American kind, big Texas Longhorn fan, and I watch their games religiously. And there have been times where I've posted on my Zippy's Card Corner Instagram account story, me watching the UT game, the Texas game, and giving my thoughts and showing a little bit of my personality and who I am outside of Pokemon. And believe it or not, I've had people react to those stories specifically, have messaged me saying like, "Oh man, I didn't know you were in Austin," or "Oh, I didn't know you were a football fan," or like, "Oh man, I went to a UT game years ago. Is it still fun?" Like, there's just opportunities, for a handful of people to really relate to certain things about you and really develop more of that relationship. And like, and I don't say this to be like, this is just like these are items to me, like these people. Like, no, like it's super cool to be able to message them and have that like a quick conversation and like bond over things that aren't just Pokemon. So I think that's an opportunity for people who are in the business to showcase more than just their Pokemon, things like that. And not
Yeah,
everyone's gonna like what you post, and that's
sure.
okay. But like understanding that your Pokemon business first, but you're also a human that enjoys things outside of that.
Right.
And the people that will really stick are going to be people that enjoy both.
Yeah. Yeah, giving people a sort of sneak preview um, into what you're like as a person, right? We the way we do our videos isn't how we normally talk. It's not how we normally act,
No,
right? There's a difference.
these.
There's no stuttering, there's no ums, there's no lapses, right? And the content, it's all you know
It's all perfectly edited. Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's done with a purpose, right?
right.
It's all scripted. There's a big difference between that and what you're like as a real person. Sort of like this podcast, by the
Yeah,
way. This is a lot more of how we are
which is why it's
as a
super fun.
person. Yeah, exactly. But and we've talked about this before, but you know, people buy from you because of you. It's not
Yes,
because of
your prices,
it's not because of your prices. It's not because of your brand, even. We're not big
yeah,
enough for that, right?
100%.
You buy from Apple because it's Apple. You buy
Yeah,
from, uh, you know, uh, I'll throw Microsoft in there too. You buy
yeah,
from Microsoft because it's Microsoft, right? You don't buy from them because of whoever the CEO is.
right.
For small businesses, it's the opposite. You
Yeah,
buy from Poke Legends TCG because of me, right?
Alex. Yeah,
You trust
100%.
Alex, not because you trust Poke Legends TCG. And I think recognizing that difference is very important for new business owners.
Yeah, yeah. I think creating those sticky audience is super important.
Yeah,
Other ways are, and we've talked about this. We've is diversifying your content. Like
yeah,
platforms, different formats, short form versus long form. Like those are all different ways to do it. And we've talked ad nauseum about short versus long form, and maybe we dive into it in another episode. But just wanted to point out that those are also opportunities to develop some sticky fans.
yeah, absolutely. Um, so yeah, super important, guys, to build that stickiness with between your customer, between your business and your customer base. Absolutely important, and definitely should be prioritized. But Logan, I also wanted to talk to you about some of the news that came
Yeah,
out in this past week, so we know what our uh, next English set is called.
Ascended Heroes.
The equivalent to the Japanese Dream EX,
Yep,
Ascended Heroes.
yep.
So, what do you think of the name?
I think the name
And
is cool.
I love the name. Like,
Yeah,
I love Ascended Heroes. It makes me want to put on like some battle armor and
right.
go to go to
Put
war
your
with
put your
somebody.
cape on.
So I love the name. I love the pack art as well.
I
So
do
there was
too. Yeah,
So,
I think
so I
that.
think there are some clues, right? So there's a
Okay.
Dragonite, obviously.
Yep.
There was Lucario, right? Which is
Lucario, Hawlucha. There was
uh,
even Mewtwo and Ho-Oh.
there
There was a
was Mewtwo
terrestrialized
and Ho-Oh.
Pikachu, I think,
Yeah,
at least in the Mega Dream EX, the Japanese thing. But I think they're pretty
yeah,
identical, actually.
yeah. Um, and then also though there was Charizard Y.
Yeah, yeah,
So now there are rumors, right? We don't, nothing's been confirmed yet, but
right.
there are rumors, and there have been some leaks of a gold Charizard Y card.
Yes,
And and for those of you that remember, with Inferno X, there was a similar leak, and that one ended up being true of
right.
the Mega Charizard EX. So a lot of
Yes.
people are speculating that this is gonna be true, and if it is, that means it's very likely we're gonna get an SAR Charizard Y
Yeah,
and Dream EX, and Ascended Heroes,
which would be crazy. I
which
mean,
would be crazy. So that means, Logan,
I know.
keeping score here, we're
Yeah,
gonna have the Mega Gengar. That's already been revealed, right? We're gonna have a Mega Dragonite,
yeah,
SAR, depending on Japanese English, right?
yep,
And then also a Charizard Y, yeah,
yes,
possibly, right? And
right.
then there's also going to be a whole other host of secret rares that haven't been revealed yet.
I think that Mega Dream EX will have 13 special art rares.
Special art rares.
Yes, SARs.
That's going to be crazy. Now, how does that compare to like uh, Prismatic or Terrestrial Fast,
Uh,
Japanese?
I don't know, but
I
the
think
difference
Terrestrial
was that
had quite a few.
Terrestrial Festival and Prismatic didn't have illustration rares. That's
Right.
the big change.
Right.
All they had were SARs and SARs. Versus Dream is gonna have both. Like we've already seen a couple of the art rares being revealed. It's the Dragapult lineup with the Jerky illustrator, as well as In's Reshiram and the Psyduck. Like that was crazy. So there's a lot to be excited about for this set, English and Japanese, and it's gonna be a fun one, man.
Yeah.
We are less than a week away from the Japanese release of Mega Dream. So over the next couple of days, we're gonna get all the secret rares revealed, and that will tell us a lot more about what we can expect in the English set.
Yeah. So how do you think this set's going to perform with? Let's just talk about Dream EX.
Sure. Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you think that's going to perform compared to Inferno X?
It, so I think Japanese difference is a lot more nuanced than it is
Yeah.
for English.
Yeah. We'll do
I think
Japanese
Jap
first, and then give
Yeah,
your
so
take on English.
Japanese, I think Inferno X is a big set. I
Yeah.
think the Charizard and the ability to pull Oricorio. I think
Or
that's a
Corio.
big
Yeah.
talking point that not everyone's talking about with Phantasmal Flames is that the Oricorio Shinji Kanda isn't actually in the set. It's in the UPC.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And
so
this
there's
is going to be one of those cases where the Japanese card is going to be worth more than the English card, I
presumably,
think.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So Inferno X, I think, is a very strong Japanese set. Mega Dream EX, I think, will be right on par though.
Yeah.
I think with the Gengar, with the Dragonite, with other potential megas, SARs being involved, I think this will be a very fun set to open. I think there will be quite a bit of chase cards. And so I think this one's going to do very well. I think right on par with Inferno X, if not even just a little bit better. Now, switching over to English, English is a different story
Yeah.
because of that Oricorio.
Yeah.
Phantasmal Flames is it's a very shallow set. It's
Yeah.
very small. We're seeing pull rates for the Charizard to be much better than what we saw with Mega Evolution.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are pulling, the gold and the SIR Charizard. So prices are dropping very fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a very uh, I don't want to say that. So I think Phantasmal Flames very fun to open. I think it's having a good time at the start. I think we'll slowly start to see the market price drop. I think with Ascended Heroes, I think that one will won't be like the only factors that play into that price will be print demand. Like,
Yeah.
can they print enough? Versus
Yeah.
Phantasmal Flames, it's can they print enough? But also they have all these other factors that are involved with it that tell you that the price might go down. Ascended
Yeah.
Heroes, I don't see that, especially if they include like a Mega Charizard Y SIR.
Yeah.
That'll be super important. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, my high level take about it. What about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think um, with Phantasmal, I mean, prices are definitely dropping right
Yeah.
now because people kind of realize like it's kind of Charizard are bust,
Yep.
and there's a good chunk of the community that doesn't even like gold cards. So
Right.
it's literally one card that they want,
Yeah.
and with how expensive sealed is in general, because
Oh, yeah.
like the art on the UPCs and the ETBs is like top tier, right?
Right.
You have the Mega Charizard
The blue
X,
and the black.
the blue and the black.
It's insane.
That will be legendary forever, right?
Yeah.
That'll be no matter what happens, that'll be like a collector's dream.
Yep.
Um, but like, you know, why would you buy, spend hundreds of dollars on booster boxes and ETBs and whatever to pull one card
Right.
when you can just buy the one card? And I think people are starting to realize that.
Yep.
So I think with Ascended Heroes, I think it'll be as big or maybe even a little bit bigger than Phantasmal at first, but I think it'll stay stronger longer
Yeah,
than
that's a good way to
Phantasmal
put it.
because of how
It'll stay
deep the
stronger
set
longer,
is.
in my opinion, as well.
Yeah,
Um,
it just um, we already know of more pulls that are going to be in Ascended Heroes,
right.
over
That
we
we're
already
excited to
know
pull
more that
than
are going to be sought
Phantasmal.
after. Yeah, exactly. Um, so I think that's my take. Now, Logan, um, the release schedule of Ascended Heroes is interesting.
Mm,
I think you and
yep.
I talked a little bit about that offline. So, what do you think of that? Because I think at first they're releasing like a couple blisters and like maybe a poster collection, and then after that they're releasing the ETB, and then after that they're releasing the booster bundle, something like that. There's
Well,
like three different uh,
release schedule, like
releases. Yeah,
releases.
yeah,
And just to give a little bit of context for those that don't know, so Ascended Heroes officially launches in the West, in the United States, in English on January 23rd. What's
yeah,
going to come out are some basic blisters. Uh, ETBs, Elite Trainer Boxes, aren't releasing for almost a whole month later. And booster bundles, don't even get me started. Those are coming out in April.
yeah,
That's almost 4 months after the initial release,
yeah,
which is crazy. It doesn't how do I say this? Special sets usually have sort of a staggered release where booster bundles and things don't come out on release day and they come out later. This one is just a little odd because it's so far out
yeah,
and ETBs aren't going to be a part of the initial release. They're coming out
yeah,
a month later. So I follow a couple content creators that are Pokemon businesses that have distribution, have their ear to the ground, and know a little bit about what's going on. And people are speculating that we are already speculating that Pokemon is going to be printing a lot more
yeah,
in quarter one of 2026 because they've added more facilities. We know that they've bought out printing facilities, and they're ramping those up at the end of this year and into 2026. So we know that they're printing more. They're going to be printing more.
yeah,
Um, there are people speculating that they're staggering out this release because they're printing other things first. Like they're playing catch up
right,
on some of the products that they haven't been able to print as much of,
right. Like
Destined Rival,
Prismatic, Destined Rivals. Yeah,
right, things like that. Um, so, I mean, that's I mean, that sounds like a pretty strong theory to me. And the people
Yeah.
that I follow are pretty transparent and, don't, take it with a grain of salt, everything. But it makes sense. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case.
Yeah. I mean, we're coming up on a year now of this craziness, right? I
I
mean, we're in
know.
November. The real craziness really started with Surging Sparks,
Yeah.
and I think that released about a year
Yeah, it
ago.
was that in November.
It was in November, yeah. So
Yeah.
Pokemon's had time now to, um, sort of assess the playing field, um, give themselves a little bit of time before pulling the trigger on anything,
Yeah.
and then getting to work on getting more product out into the market. I think,
Yeah.
you know,
And
by
all signs
March,
point to,
April of 2026, I
yep.
definitely think that, that's enough time for them to take some actionable, uh, you know, do some actionable things to fix what's going on with the market.
Yeah. Mark your
That makes
calendars,
sense.
boys and girls. March, April 2026 will be a time to look for with the Pokemon market and the industry and sort of where we are with this hype.
Yeah. And all I want is like, look, instead of everything selling out in freaking 2 hours, make it a week.
Yeah.
Make it a week. Give everyone the opportunity to buy it at least for a week. I
Even
mean,
a full
it's not
day.
going to hurt
Like
long-term investors in the end.
right, like even give it a day, right? Like,
Give
being
it a
able
whole
to
day.
stock in the
Right.
morning, and someone who's getting off work at 7 p.m. can go to Target and still find product. Like,
Right. Or buy
ah,
online. That's probably
or buy
the
online,
easiest.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's more than reasonable.
Yeah. So,
Um,
I don't know, we'll see, man.
yeah, we'll see. I don't think anybody wants them to do what they did with like Battle Styles and Shining Fates and um, uh, Chilling Reign, like that era. I don't think anyone wants that where everything. I mean, I don't. You remember like 18 months ago, Logan, packs were like $3 a piece on TCG Player. They were below MSRP. You remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, yeah. No, it
They're below MSRP.
yeah.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
It's wild the times that we're in. Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting, guys. March and April of 2026. Yes, mark your calendars.
Yep. So, with that being said, guys, this is episode 17 of the
17. Can
Table
you believe
podcast.
it?
I know. Thank you for everyone who's left a comment, asking questions, subscribed to the channel, liked our videos, even watched our videos. We continue to appreciate. We're going to continue to ask that you subscribe to the channel, leave us comments, questions for us to answer in these episodes. We're just two small business owners that are making our way and understanding this Pokemon market and selling Pokemon cards to people like you through content. And, we appreciate, your support. But with that out of the way, we've already talked a little bit about, some topics and some news. I want to dive into this idea of who you follow and why you follow people as content creators, as business owners. I think shedding a little bit of light into that, I think is interesting and can give some transparency to our viewers. So Alex, as a business owner, as a Pokemon content creator, what are some accounts that you follow, and why do you follow those?
Yeah. So one of the things, and we've talked maybe briefly about this in past episodes, but when you start a Pokemon card business, it's important for you to study other content creators.
Yeah.
It's extremely important because like it's just unlikely you're going to learn everything you need just
Mhm.
just by trial and error, doing your
Yeah.
own thing.
Yeah.
At least not as fast, right? It's
Well, there's no need
important to
to
follow.
reinvent the wheel.
What's that?
There's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Right, exactly. Um, so yeah, I follow some of the more prominent business owners like Brian from Pokey,
Yeah.
Nostalgianomics, Alex Ketchum, right?
Yep.
Um, and when I watch their videos, I I try I try and understand first of all, what their strategy is, um, some of the things they do in their editing and their how they come across to their audience. Any and I try and apply any of that could work for my business.
Yeah.
And another thing I don't think is talked about enough. Studying other content creators and taking what you can apply to your business and kind of getting your ego out of the way,
Yeah.
like of thinking, oh, I could do that better. I think is at least for like starting out, right? And me and Logan,
Yeah.
we're both starting out. We've been in this for about a year. Um, and by the way, got to brag about Logan for a second.
Uh,
Logan still does
Alex.
this. Logan still does this, and he's got like 19,000 followers. He has multiple videos every week that has 10, 15,000 views, and he still does this.
Yeah.
So, you know, extremely important for new business owners. Study up,
Now,
guys.
one thing that one thing that I really look for, and just I say ditto to everything that Alex said. I think you follow people who are doing well that you can take inspiration from, and apply it to your content as well, because that's just how content is done.
Yeah,
One thing that I really look out for is who the algorithm is pushing to me. So, I don't doom scroll on my Zippy's Card Corner Instagram account. No, that account is for Pokemon content. It's for Pokemon Reels. Um, that is that. My personal account is what I'll doom scroll on, and things like that. So what Instagram will show me are people that are, it shows me reels that it'll think I'm interested in. And typically that's people opening packs. It's people giving their take on the market. It's other business owners, advertising their business. And when I see that, it's typically because it is like maybe I don't follow them. So I'm always looking for new people to follow that are doing something right. And it could be that they have 1,000 followers. It could be that they have 50,000 followers.
sure.
But if I can go on their profile and see that they're posting consistently and they're showing their face and they're showing you're hearing their voice, and it's mostly reels, like that's an account that I want to follow. And try and learn from, even if it's understanding what not to do. There's always something to take away. And so, I think it's really important that if you look at an account and let's say they have 5,000 followers, but last month they had 3,000, they grew 2,000 followers in a month. That's a
Yeah,
lot. What
that's a
is
lot.
it that they're doing? That is it their hooks? Is it their thumbnails? What is it that is allowing them to see that kind of success? And how can you replicate that? Don't copy. I'm not saying to copy. I'm saying
Right.
how can you uh, take inspiration from their content and apply it to your own so that you can grow as well. It's just
Yeah.
strategy. So I think those are the types of accounts that I follow. And yeah, like Alex said, I think you have your typical ones like Brian and Deep Pocket Monsters. Like, those are the standards at what you're basing a lot of things off of, right? Deep Pocket Monsters, Alex Ketchum. It's what you take away from them is posting daily, and that's eh, it's a really good standard to put yourself to, because Alex Ketchum has grown by insane numbers simply because he posted daily. Um, and Brian, built a successful business by posting, by creating content. And again, you're not looking to copy what they're doing, but just replicate some of their strategy into yours, and make it your own. You're your own person, you're your own brand. Differentiate yourself. That's what we say. So I think that's important. And those are the types of accounts that I follow, and people that I would recommend as a business owner you follow.
Yeah. And yeah, and uh, we also follow, like Logan mentioned, less prominent content creators. Like I'll give
Yeah.
this guy a shout out. Big Fat Fish Cards.
Yeah.
I've been super impressed with how he's been able to, you know, sort of pick up the camera, pick up the phone, and just talk. And he's been able
Yep.
to grow that way. No editing really, no cuts, no visualizations. He just picks up the phone and just talks, and he's been able
Yep.
to grow. And he's been able to kind of share his story of, starting out selling at card shows, and then, finally he
Just
opened up
open up
his
a
own
storefront.
storefront.
Wow,
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, crazy. He just, a couple months ago, he opened up his own storefront store, and he's just been able to. And this is the other thing too, like, uh, one of the forms of content creation that I think really like hooks people in and takes people in and sort of builds that stickiness is kind of taking them with you on a story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it makes you kind of feel sort of invested into their story, right?
Right.
And I think Big Fat Fish Cards, I think he does a really good job with that. So shout out to you, man. Good job.
Yeah. No, and it, like, I shout out to you, Alex, right? Like, I think whenever I first started, I was looking to follow other Pokemon businesses and see what content they were creating, and your account came up. And, like, you know, we look back on our content, from a year ago, and obviously it's much different than it was then. But what I really resonated with your content was the story, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm seeing this guy, post these things and post your numbers, and you were transparent about some of the things that you were doing with your business. And as a business owner, it was really cool to be able to relate to that, almost see like, man, like this guy's doing this much. Like, how is he doing that? What is he doing? Like, and it forced me to reflect on what I've been doing and, and strategize differently. It's the same thing, it's building that muscle of looking at what others are doing to succeed and trying to implement that into your own stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think Alex, you do a great job of that. So
Thank you, man.
it's all and it's all relative. So the content that you're creating and other people are creating is going to be different than what this person is creating, and what influences this person is going to be different than this one. So it just depends. But taking the strategy of being able to learn from others and implement in yourself is a skill in itself.
Yeah. And I think when if you're serious about starting your own Pokemon card store, I do think the way you consume content should be different,
Yes.
right? Like you shouldn't just watch content just to watch content. At least not on the Pokemon card side of things, right? I think that um,
Right.
because look, with content creation, guys, I'll tell you this right now. We talked a little bit about this already in past episodes, but it takes a lot of your time, and you want to be efficient with your time. Okay, like there's always more stuff to do. Like building that trust and then retaining the trust and figuring
Yeah.
out what your schedule is going to look like for the week. All that takes a tremendous amount of time. And we have full-time jobs, by the way. Logan and I we don't do this full time. We have full-time jobs on top of this. Um, so if you're serious about starting a Pokemon card business, follow other content creators with a purpose.
Do your
Don't
homework.
consume their content for any reason. When you watch their videos, you need to be sort of taking, okay, why are they successful? Why is this working? Why are people engaging with their content? Taking that and using it, using what you can for your own content is important.
Yeah, Alex put it a good way. You need to do your homework. Your homework is
Yes.
is is, is reviewing others and learning from it.
Right.
Um, but anyways, uh, that was good. I think that was cool.
Yeah.
Giving our insight into who we follow and why we follow them. Another question that I wanted to ask you, Alex, is why is the content that you create? Why do you create that content? Why don't you, create content around ripping packs? Or why don't you create content about the drama that is seemingly everywhere in the Pokemon, market right now? Um, yeah, I'm curious, right?
Yeah. No, that's an excellent question. And like before, my content creation would be a little bit all over the place. Like I would
Hmm.
do like some pack openings every once in a while. I would do, hot takes in the market. I would do, a lot of what I'm doing now, which is um, like educational, news related content,
Right.
and drops for my business, like upcoming releases, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found was, and I got, some of this from talking back and forth with you, Logan,
Yeah.
is the algorithm seems to not like that. The
Mm-hmm.
algorithm seems to like pushing consistent content. Okay, are you
Yeah.
posting consistently? And also, the content that you're posting, is that consistent? So I guess to answer your question, the reason why I post the content I do and I don't really branch out anymore is because it's a more effective use of my time to post the same consistent amount of content. So like Logan and I were talking about this offline when it came to long form content. Like the amount of time that it takes to start building an audience from long form content versus just making more videos from Instagram. Like every video we make at this point on Instagram moves the needle
Right.
when it comes to the growth of our businesses. Every video, because we're going to get views, we're going to get more followers, and then once you start getting followers, it's just a numbers game. Okay, at the end of the day, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, right, making every part of the transaction outstanding, then it's just a numbers game. X
Right.
amount of followers equals X amount of customers, which means every video you make moves the needle. However, with long form content, uh, you know, you might get you might spend hours and hours and hours on a single video, for weeks and weeks and weeks, right? It takes a long time to build an audience from long form content.
Take this podcast, for
And
example.
yeah, exactly. Like we've been doing this. This is a great example. This podcast. We've been doing this podcast for 17 weeks now,
4 months.
and yeah, 4 months. And look, I'll be first to say, our videos don't get a ton of views, right? And we put a lot of time into this.
Right.
Every podcast is an hour long, and then the uploading and getting like
Editing, the
our, our
thumbnail.
our overlay right, and all that stuff takes time, right? Um, so I guess to answer your question, when when you're doing a Pokemon card business and you have a full-time job and you have all these other things going on, it becomes extremely important to be effective and efficient with your time.
Yeah,
And the
there's not
most
a whole lot of it.
effective use of my time is to post content that the algorithm is going to push to as many viewers as possible.
Yeah,
I guess that's my take.
that makes sense. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get behind that.
Yeah.
I think another thing to think about is the consistency. It's
Yeah.
what we preach all the time, all the freaking time. Is the most important thing is being consistent. You can post crap content, like as long as you're consistent, like it'll do something. Like Alex said, it will
Sure.
move the needle. Um, Now, there's some strategy to how you can be more consistent. And some of the stuff that I mentioned was, you have raw content, you can do pack openings, you can do drama content. The problem with these things is that they're hard to be consistent with. If you're creating drama content, there's not always drama to talk about. And so that leaves you to be the one to create the drama. And it's like,
Right.
and that's like a whole different, it's not something I would really recommend as a business to get
No.
into. There is a place in the internet for that. Uh, I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
And then you have pack openings. Pack openings are fun. It's
Yeah.
also the most saturated part of social media when it comes to
Yeah.
Pokemon. Everyone and their brother is making pack opening content.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to differentiate yourself with that. And not to mention it's expensive, right? Like every
Yeah.
single pack, that you open costs money, and if you're opening English, right? It's like English packs right now are $5 to $10, five to
Yeah.
ten dollars every single video.
Every
Um,
single video. Yeah.
and that's like not every, like, and with pack openings again, it's saturated, so you're paying $5 to $10 per video. to compete with so many other pack openings. Um, it's just so hard, pack openings. So that's why I don't do that. And then the other one is
Yeah.
raw content. I think raw content is something that I'm interested in getting more into. However, it's to supplement all of the series that I currently have.
Hmm.
I have series where I know what I'm going to post every single day. That's how I've been able to do it for the past 187 days. But with raw content, it's a lot more about in the moment, thinking about what it is that you're going to do today, right now. Um, it's not as it's a lot more open ended. It's a lot more creative. It's just a lot more harder to be consistent, and it's a lot easier to create burnout. So the series are the things that you should really focus on for staying consistent to begin with. And then like right now, I'm more than 6 months into my daily posting, and just now am I starting to start to brainstorm outside of content about how I can create some raw form content. Um, and so, I focus on series, I focus on education, I focus on news, I focus on entertainment. Like, my target audience is the average Pokemon card collector. I don't focus on super analytical, hot, market takes. I don't
Hmm.
focus on hot takes. I focus on the average Pokemon card collector who is interested in Pokemon cards, and is just wanting to be entertained a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
and keeping in mind your target audience when you're doing that, right? Like if you're making drama, your target audience is people who enjoy drama.
Right.
Like there's passion there, and I think that's as a Pokemon business, it's like I don't know if you necessarily want passion because half of the people are going to be claiming you're a scalper for charging over MSRP. The other half is going to be fighting those people that are saying that. So it's like you'll have about 50-50%. Versus ideally, it's like my whole audience are the average Pokemon card collector who are interested in Pokemon cards. Maybe they see a video of mine that you know they see a Pokemon business for the first time and then they go see it. Like that's who I want. I want all 19,000 of my followers to be thinking, about, oh, Logan's a business. Logan's a Pokemon business.
Right.
He makes fun content. Let me go check it out. Things like that.
Yeah. And yeah, keeping in perspective, right? We create content for our business,
Right.
right? We don't create content just to be
For
entertaining. We
views.
create
Yeah.
content for building trust and building our community, which will ultimately, divert to customers for your business, right? As long as you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's important to when you're figuring out that niche, right? Whether you want to do, pack openings, or maybe you're just doing sort of raw content like big fat fish cards, or
Yep.
if you do more of what Logan does with educational content and news and things like that. It's important to remember, okay, how is that going to translate over to customers for my business?
Right.
I think is
Exactly.
extremely important.
100%. Anything else before we dive into, I think, maybe the last couple topics and really focusing in on our businesses?
Yeah, no, I think we're good. Really interested to hear about how your business has been though this past week.
Yeah. So we opened up Mega Dream EX pre-orders, I think 10 days ago now.
Yeah.
And for full transparency, we've sold about a little over 30 boxes so far, which is way more than I sold for Inferno X. I think for Inferno X, I probably sold 10 or 15 boxes pre-order. And a majority of them came after release. So we're already doing better with this release than we did with Inferno X. I don't attribute that to, you know, Mega Dream EX is double as good as Inferno X. I think we're growing. I think we're strategizing differently. So the pre-orders have been good. I'm excited for this week with the secret rares getting revealed. Just sort of gauging the hype, and seeing sort of where prices are going to land for the boxes and sort of how the trajectory is. Like, is it going to pull an Inferno X and go up, or is it going to, settle down, right? I think in Mega Dream EX, like, it's starting out like $135 to $145 a box for release, and Inferno X was about $125 to $135. So we're looking at like a $10 on average difference. So this is a very expensive Japanese set. It'll be interesting to see how the community responds to it once release happens and once people are more aware of the cards that are coming out. But
I got to talk about this too, man. So Logan, you've been doing this for 6 months now. I just want to give people sort of the power behind content creation being consistent. So you just mentioned you sold over 30 boxes of just Dream, right? That doesn't count like anything else, like Simplified Chinese. You've been killing it on. You've got a bunch of other products in your store. So can you just give viewers just a quick sneak peek of where you were at 6 months ago? Like,
So I started the business last year, back in August of last year. I don't know if I've said it. I think I had 2 sales the entire year of 2024. I then started running ads at the beginning of 2025 with Terrestrial Festival, and I think I got maybe 10 orders. So all in all, I probably sold like less than 15 orders for the first like 8 months of the business. Then I started daily uploading, started gaining followers, grew from 500 followers to 19,000 followers in 6 months. And yeah, like it kind of goes back to what I said about the business cards. Like I bought those business cards, about 100, thinking like, man, am I really gonna use up all 100 of these? And like, and I obviously did. And it like, I remember when I heading into 2025, one of my New Year's goals, like a metric that I wanted to try and hit was like, I wanted to try and hit 25 orders for the entire year. Like, like it's just, it is crazy because,
aim for the moon there, Logan. Jeez.
Well, that's just how poorly, the first couple months had gone. And, at least I thought I was putting in a lot of effort, and I wasn't, but, to reiterate, it's hard, right? Running a business is hard, and putting yourself out there to create content is hard. But yeah, like to Alex's point, if you do it and you commit and you grind, like, and it's like, I'm not even, like there are other businesses out there that I see that are performing even better than me, with less followers, less content. So like, it's, everyone's different, but the point is, it's like if you commit to it, and you are in it for the long game, you're not going to see overnight success. But yeah, I'm super happy with the 30 pre-orders so far for Mega Dream. We still have a week to go. I imagine hype will continue to build. It's going to be a fun one, I think. I'm excited. Yeah. So that's sort of the business update.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. I can't. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's just crazy. That's awesome, dude. But yeah, with my business, I went live with Dream EX pre-orders 3 or 4 days ago, and I've sold 8 or 9 boxes so far. So not bad. And then I had my big English drop last weekend. It went super well.
Crazy.
I had the most orders I've ever gotten. I had about 50 orders or so. I sold $5,000 in sales
weekend
in 5 minutes. What'd you say?
From a single weekend, like
from a single weekend, yeah.
Like you said, you sold how much in 5 minutes?
In 5 minutes, I sold 5,000. In literally 5 minutes, like literally.
Which is like, that wasn't even all of your English drop, but like that's more than most of my English drops have been entirely.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty nuts. And then
yeah,
I sold out of everything. Like I had nothing left. I mean, I got cleaned out. Nothing.
which feels good.
Um, it's good. Yeah. I mean, it made me have a mini panic attack for packing,
And
but
shipping.
but no, yeah, English drop went really well. We're prepping for another one.
Man,
That's going to be either next weekend or the weekend after. So we're gonna try and do two two English drops a month is what we're aiming for.
moving forward.
So we'll see if we make it. It might have to wait till the weekend after. So maybe not next weekend, but the weekend after.
All right.
Um, but yeah, no, things are going good. We're growing. And Logan, I know you guys are growing.
Your views are going off too on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I'm getting better, right, with my content creation. I'm getting better. Um, so like I was getting, about 1,000 views a video. Now I'm getting double, triple that. I'm
Yep.
getting 2,000 to 3,000 views, literally, or usually a
Yep.
video. Um, and so yeah, and that goes
Well,
into just getting better, right?
yeah, I was gonna say, like it's pretty apparent if you even just look back, a month and a half from now,
Yeah,
like your videos look very different, right? The first frame is very eye-catching, and you've
yeah,
introduced new lighting, so like,
yeah,
yeah, no, it looks a lot more striking, than it did a month and a half ago. And guys, that's the point, right? Like
yeah,
Alex has been doing this for over a year now. And
yeah,
he's been a lot more consistent with his content creation than I have. He's been doing it for the entire year plus. I just, kind of kicked it into gear in the past 6 months. But with Alex, like even now he's still improving. He's still looking at what he can do to get better and get more views, which get more followers, which gets more potential customers. And it's like it's working, right? Like yeah, it's wild to go on his Instagram and see the real view count. Averaging out to be around 2,000-3,000, versus, you know, 3 months ago it was, you know, 600-700. So
yeah,
super cool.
yeah. No, thanks, man. Yeah, it just getting better. Every week trying to get better on something, like improving something. Um, I think is extremely important. And by the way, Logan and I talk offline too. We don't just talk on the podcast. We talk about this stuff all the time.
I know it's
How
all
we
we
can
talk
get
about.
better. And that's something too, like for new business owners, networking with other business owners whenever you can, and just um, helping each other. Like there's plenty of room for all of us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there really is. I mean, and, and,
Yeah.
and, and like I hate to say it, but there's just a lot of the businesses that get filtered out are just the ones that, even if they had all the knowledge, they're just not going to do the work, right?
Right.
So I
Well,
don't think anyone should think um, like no, I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to give them like any advice for them to be more successful than because then they could take customers away from me. I wouldn't ever think like that.
no,
Um,
because
I mean the amount of knowledge and how much I've gotten better just by talking back and forth with Logan, I think has been just invaluable.
well, and two things. Like one is, you know, the point of the content creation is to build that trust, build that, that relationship with your audience, with your customer base, so that, they're
Yeah,
buying from you because of you, not your product, not, like not because this person does content this way or this way. No, like they're doing it for you. And,
right.
that's important to understand. You could be selling the
Yeah,
exact same product, exact same target audience, but like, you know, they're gonna buy from you from this rather than this person because of you and in your content and what you do and how you present it. 100%. Another thing is Alex and I very we talk every week. it seems like, every single time we hop on a call, it's for over an hour.
Yeah.
And the point is that like we share so much with each other and have learned so much from each other. However, like our audiences are completely different.
Yeah.
Like we're both Pokemon businesses, we're both online stores, but Alex's primary audience, it seems like, is people that buy English product, and
Mhm.
that's why he's able to sell out these drops like that, because his audience are people that are looking for that. My audience, not so much, right? And it's like you learn this, right? Like I've had previous English drops that haven't gone as well as Alex's, and it's just because like I'm realizing that my audience is a little bit different, and that's why I'm really leaning into Japanese and simplified Chinese, is because my audience seems to like that more. And the point is, it's like we're both businesses, Pokemon businesses at the end of the day, but we're selling to completely different people. So
Yeah.
like we could make the exact same content. It's not going to matter because his viewers are going for this thing, my viewers are going for this thing, and so we're not butting heads or anything like that in terms of business, and customer reach.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But
No, good podcast, Logan. I love this episode, and guys, please make sure you like and subscribe. Okay, it's super important to us that just like how important it is for us to grow our businesses, it's important for us to grow this YouTube channel. So please consider subscribing. We'd be forever grateful.
And leave a
Um,
comment. Leave a comment. Leave a question.
please leave a
We
comment. Yeah, yeah,
we changed up the ordering of this episode a little bit. Kind of
yeah,
dove into some of the deeper topics in the beginning rather than going over the news and our business updates. Let us know if that was helpful. Let us know if that was more enjoyable than previous episodes. Just give us feedback. We'd love it. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to act on it and make
yeah,
better shows for you guys. So please do that.
yeah. And we reply to every comment, you guys. So if you comment on this video, we will comment on your comment. So,
Right.
yeah. With that, guys, thanks for watching. Catch you later.
See you.